So right now we're going to go over some helpful hints for the M2 homework assignment. So I'm just going to read the assignment over here on the Word document and then point you guys to the right place on the Excel document included. So let's read the first one together. What would the purchasing power of $1 million received at the beginning of 1900 be worth at the end of 2012? So let's go over to our Excel document and see we have this $1 million cell here next to all the information. So we're going to treat it like a present value problem where we divide the number by 1 plus the rate. So we're going to equals this $1 million divided by 1 plus inflation. Oops. All right, so there's the formula right there. We're going to enter, and then we're just going to go down the rest of the column. And then when you get to 2012, that is the answer, and you can put that number in this yellow cell. And that will be the answer to number 1. All right, so now let's move on to question number 2. Plot the growth in your investment, assuming you invested $1,000 in 1900 in each of the 3 possible assets, stocks, treasury bonds, or treasury bills, over the entire time period. Compute the annualized returns, annualized standard deviations, and correlations across these investments. All right, so let's start with that. Let's compute the annualized returns and standard deviations and correlations first. So to get the annualized returns, we're going to look at these data sets here, which keep going all the way down to 2012. And so how we're going to find that is we are going to just take the average. So we're going to use the average function, and then you just enter a list or an array of data. So just go all the way down. I'm not going to do it here, so let you guys do that, but so that's the function we're going to use, and we're going to do that for T-bills, bonds, stocks, and inflation. All right, and then to get the standard deviation, it's going to be similar, and you're going to use the dev function or the sample. In Excel, they give you the same answer for this set. And then you're going to, do the same thing, highlight all of this, so keep going. All right, so I'm not going to do that for you guys here, but that's the function you will use. And again, you're going to do that for T-bills, bonds, stocks, and inflation. And so these figures right here will help you answer which had the best returns and the most volatility. So best returns would be the highest average percentage here, and then the most volatile will be the highest standard deviation here. And then so real annual returns would be this average of the T-bills, the bonds, or the stocks, minus the average of the inflation. And so you will do that for each average class. This average minus this average is this figure. This average minus this average is this figure. This one minus this one is this one. And this one should be a 0. All right. Okay, so that answers this part of question 2. The second part, which are the best and worst performing investments and why? So this one you would just, so the best, again, would be whichever one has the highest average, and worst is probably the lowest. As long as you justify that. What would you recommend to your Carey MBA colleague? So this one, You guys should provide a little bit of background on your Carey MBA colleague, such as what is his or her risk tolerance and how long is their investment horizon. And then which investments would you choose? All right, so that's that part. We also need to calculate the correlations. So to do that, we are going to use the Correl function. And if you see, we have the correlation set up right here. Equals Correl. And then you just choose two arrays. So for T-bills, it's going to be this section right here. Oops. Okay, the first array, and then the second array. Go back up so you can see that answer. It's going to be the same. And if you remember correlation, if it's two numbers that are the same, the correlation should be 1, because 1 means 100% correlated, which is what we got, which is correct. And then so for this one, you're going to do the correlation function, the same function here, but you're going to do T-bills for the first array and then bonds for the second array. This one you're going to do T-bills for the first array and then stocks for the second array. All right, and you will create a matrix here. And then that will show you which ones are most correlated and which ones are least correlated. So we're almost done with question number 2. The last part we have is over here. Plot the growth in your investment, assuming you invested $1,000 in 1900 in each of the assets. All right, so we are going to do something similar to what we did with the $1 million, except instead of dividing by the discount rate, we are going to multiply. So to get this function started, we need to do the starting value, which is 1,000, times 1 plus the rate. So we'll start with T-bills. And then close it, enter. I don't know, this, so that's the correct function. And then, so we can't just drag it down yet, because if we do that, each number will have 1,000 in it. Since then we're going to equals this cell times 1 plus the rate. And the reason we have to do this is because it's a variable rate. Each rate right here is different. We can't just add it to do 1 plus r to the t. We have to enter each rate separately, and then just click it down. And then once we do this for each of the asset classes, we will do the same thing up here. Equals average for this whole chart. Okay, and then we're going to do that for each of the classes. We're going to do, actually don't know if you need to do the standard deviation, but we'll put that here. And then remember the real is, we'll just say T-bills minus inflation. For this one, this would be the bonds minus inflation, and again, it's minus the average. So then once you get this data, you will plot the growth. So you get all of these, and then you'll do insert chart. And I would just do a line chart, line graph for that one. So, okay, let me just reread question 2. It looks like we have 100% of that done. Let's see, question 3. So this is all about correlation. Which investment is most correlated with inflation and why? What are the historical correlations across the entire sample? Are they stable? So this question, we will come back to our correlation over here in Excel, and then we'll see which one's most correlated with inflation and which one is not. And then to do the historic correlations, you could open a new tab and break the data into maybe 10, 15, 25-year periods and find the correlations between them. Not sure what that is there. Okay, and then you can see if the correlations remain stable or not throughout the years. All right, so far we've done question 1, question 2, and question 3. So we just have question 4, which is to redo question 2 and 3 in real terms. And remember, real means the figure without inflation. And then we're going to comment on similarities and differences. So you can go back to your chart. And what I would do is insert a column here, 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 and then T-bills real, bonds real, and stocks real. So for this one, I would do equals this return minus inflation, and then go down and do this for the bonds and the stocks. And then so for T-bills real, you would do the average function again for this, and again go all the way down. And then so do the average and standard deviation. All right, so that takes care of best returns, most volatility, and best and worst performing investments. And then, so it looks like the only thing left we have to do is $1,000 invested in 1900. So we're going to come up here and insert another column like we did before. T-bills real. And so this one equals $1,000 times 1 plus the new rate we got, T-bills real rate. Okay, and then this one equals this previous number times 1 plus the new rate. Okay, and then double click to fill in that whole chart. And then you can also do the average up here. And then once you get these figures, the T-bills real, bonds real, and stocks real, you can insert a chart as well. And then you guys are done. So hopefully this gives you guys a little bit more direction on the homework. As always, please reach out if you have any additional questions. And thank you so much. Have a good weekend. See you guys soon.